Nowadays, the bigger warfare is going on through the media using deception. And most people end up being deceived and harmed. And one that is at a larger scale globally, it brings disaster. I don't know what your perception, your bias, or your narrative that you have, that you heard through the media, which doesn't always tell you the facts, that you don't have the first-hand information. So people take whatever the information they get through different channels of media as their only truths about any situation. Understanding the people's psychology that way, a lot of criminal peoples are using that to their own advantage. That we as a people are becoming lazy, complacent, we don't go out or on our own to find out. So we depend on them. So they always scatter us what we are looking for. The deception, the bias, the lies. Today I want to talk about with the topic, there is no civil war in Ethiopia. The two ongoing wars since illegitimate Ethiopian leader Abiy Ahmed came to power in April the year 2018 is, number one, Anti-Tigray war, number two, Anti-Ethiopian Orthodox Church. This war started effective 24 May 2018 after Abiy Ahmed's meeting with Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Ambassador Donald Yamamoto, on April 27, 2018 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Yamamoto stretched his flight to Ethiopia right after he has met and discussed with the Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki in Asmara, Eritrea. As soon as Donald Yamamoto's two-day trip in Ethiopia finished, action for the Anti-Tigray and Anti-Orthodox operation started to unfold in this way. Number one, the Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki went to Saudi Arabia around April 29, 2018 with the invitation of the Saudi Arabia King Salman bin Abdulaziz. Second, in April 29, 2018, the illegitimate Prime Minister, but the caretaker of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, did an operation of huge protest that lasted for 10 consecutive days. The mass protest that was operated in every city of Oromia was against the Shakisa Guji area of Legedembi in Midrock, Ethiopia, gold mining place. That has been legally registered for long, and upon that time, the company held a valid business trade license that could have allowed him to operate the mining business for the next 10 years and was issued by the previous administration. The Midrock Ethiopia gold mining company has been owned by Sheikh Mohammed Alamuddin, a Saudi Ethiopian billionaire businessman who ahead of time was detained at Riyadh's Ritz-Carlton Hotel in November 2017 under the order King San Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi king, was Saudi Arabian king Mohammed bin Salman. So Abiy Ahmed, after he came to power, the very first visible action he took was take over the gold mining place. The Midrock Ethiopia was legally licensed as part of the company's investment in the country. How did Abiy Ahmed accomplish that? Relaxing, sitting behind the scenes, Abiy Ahmed, number one, pushed others to stir up things and go for riots. Number two, he forced and threatened the Midrock mining employees, banning them not to go in their workplace, rather forcing them to go and join the protest against the company they work with and make their means for living. He threatened some to appear in front of a camera and to say his scripted propaganda that Midrock Company used a chemical that affects the health of the community. Number 3, at the larger scale, Abiy Ahmed mobilized millions of the young in Oromo region, a group called Kero. Those were the ones who were protesting and fighting the previous government on the behalf of the Oromo people against existed lack of democracy and social injustice. Capitalizing on their energy as a youth and their fame on protest and riots, Abiy Ahmed tells them a narrative that the company is exploiting your resources. So you should take all your family members on the street and protest against Midrock. That way, he used them, exploit the energy and aggression for the 10 consecutive days. Huge mass protest that has been operated in all Oromia cities to oppose the Legedembe Midrock Ethiopia gold mining place. The 10 days mob that killed 12 civilians by the government and wounded many ended on May 9, 2018. Then the next day, on May 10, 2018, Abiy Ahmed's governance announced, due to the company's negative health impact on the employees and the communities around, we banned the company upon people's request. Just like that, while Sheikh Mohammed Alamudi was still held at Carlton Hotel, Abiy Ahmed, on his very first operation in action, achieved controlling the money. When does Abiy Ahmed use to control the money? I mean, whom? Whom does Abiy Ahmed use? The Oromo people. What was his strategy? Spreading lies, character assassination on the company's legacy, manipulating the feelings and emotions of the young Oromo, as he was playing his deception that he fed them narratives for them to go in line with his plan, to react and riot, and stayed that way for 10 days protest until his goal was achieved. For those who know the narratives were wrong and stood with the truth, has been shot with the gun and dead. So the government is responsible for killing 12 civilians' lives during that operation. What was the result? The operation from April 29 to May 09, 2018, a total of 10 days mass protest, concluded as Abiy's illegal and criminal governance announced on May 10, 2018, that due to the negative health impact the company is causing, and based on the workers' complaint and the people's request, effective that day, the government banned the trade license from its business operation and by totally closing the company and take over it. That is the approach. He controlled the money. Using outright lies, manipulation, and deception are the key for the thief Colonel Abiy to steal, kill, and destroy, in order to gain total control of what that's something he has targeted, either to steal, take over, or to destroy it. Betrayal, victimization, arrest, injured, being killed are the common collateral damage the Ethiopian civilians has to go through for over 2 years. That's the lateral effect of the narcissist Abiy Ahmed's each and every operation he orchestrated. On this case, he betrayed the company's owner, Sheikh Mohammed, manipulating, using, and victimizing the young Oromos who were looking for their promising democracy they anticipated in hope for the betterment of the future. The Midrock employees, their source of income to meet their family's basic needs, is gone. And just like that, many households lost their jobs overnight. When we see it collectively, All the three, the owner of the company, its employees, and the young hero are among the victims of the oppression, without including those who lost their lives, arrested, and injured. Thus, everything that has been continued to be carried on as of May 10, 2018, to date, to this very date, November 2020, has the same pattern with the same effect. Same old, same old, same old. Conspiracy theory, bias, narratives, and camping in Ethiopia for over 3 years. White lie, manipulation, deception, assassination, massacre, mass imprisonment, mass displacement, and what we are experiencing since April 2018. The only thing that changed over the course of time, its intensity, degree, and the size of the crime that goes from bad to worse at its climax. And it's knocking every household. No one is immune. Either someone is betrayed, displaced, injured, psychologically, physically, emotionally, victimized, imprisonment, being killed, or lost loved ones are a category. Each individual fits in one of or in many categories of hurt. A hurt as so painful with lots of irreversible damage. This becomes in the life of the fellow citizens of Ethiopia every day. And the world is just watching as great spectators, as our people are betrayed and perished, as if we Ethiopians deserve this as global citizens and human beings created by the Creator. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church Patriarch articulated it well in his moving and touching powerful message. In his desperation for all the everyday massacre in Ethiopia, and the tears in his eyes, stood up with his responsibility as spiritual father. As spiritual father for the Orthodox Church and for the institution, fought so hard for over 2 years, as this is anti-Orthodox, anti-Christ war also. He pronouncedly said, this is not Ethiopian way. We value people's life. There's an outside intruder. He stood up and tell the truth as it is. The spoken truth that could have cost his life. We appreciate and grateful for the Russian Orthodox Church to stand in solidarity and condemn the injustice, the oppression, and the crime towards the ancient Ethiopian Orthodox Church. So we call out with plea to all global citizens, all Christians, and those who those who care to protect the church. Stand in solidarity to protect and preserve the Ethiopian Orthodox Church that criminals are intentionally destroying it heavily, especially the past 2 weeks, because that is their motive, to destroy the church, where truth, love, peace, good relationship, forgiveness are taught, nurtured, built, and strengthened. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church is not only about the Christian religions. It's depicted also Ethiopian culture, tradition, core value system, identity, costume, intellect, and Ethiopian history. By destroying the Orthodox Church, the aim is to destroy Ethiopia in its entirety. The northern part of Ethiopia is mostly dominating the history of Ethiopia. the history of Ethiopia. So this is the motive behind. We are in a war. Truth is covered either with a lie or dirty money, which is another mask for the big lie. So the norm became for what is untruth or outright lie holds expensive position, while the wage of truth or integrity is either to be locked down in prison cell or will be haunted in being assassinated. That's why the government is attacking the Tigray people right now and engaging and also disagree not to stop the fire, the ceasefire or the war. It's not about a power struggle. It's about, since the day he came in with a mission to destroy the Orthodox Church and to destroy the power. The money is taken by controlling one of the investment, the biggest investment through Midrock Ethiopia. In all discourse for the last 2.5 years in his anti-Tigray war, to subdue them, the Tigrayans, and control them by force. We have entertained and endured the psychological warfare this far. The illegitimate Ethiopian leader from its inception as part of the conspiracy group, who are working day and night to take over Ethiopia under colonialism, to execute their cunning, classified plan to take over our country, Ethiopia, under colonialism and enslave our future. This is what's going on in Ethiopia. Since the USA Director Mark Green feet touched Ethiopian ground in Ethiopia territory on August 13, 2017, as a result of Mohammed bin Zayed, the Abu Dhabi Crown Prince, and Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi Arabia Crown Prince, Donald Trump, and Jared Kushner, conspiracy that has came to life during Jared Kushner's trip to Middle East in August 23, 2018. That his itinerary included meeting the leaders in Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Egypt. All these were behind the scenes supporting Donald Trump's 2016 election. Kushner visited Jordan, Palestine also. Kushner, during his father-in-law office time, warned to accomplish a heroic mission in favor of his Jewish background. And that mission is the occupied territory in Palestine, the West Bank, to be given to Israel. For this, he needed Egypt to lobby the Palestine. In order to get Egypt to go with his plan, he needed the two Middle East countries, Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, to lobby Egypt for him. In order those two Middle East countries to board in their, with Kushner idea, the original conspiracy, why they even maneuvered Donald international trip to be Riyadh, Saudi Arabia in the first place. They demanded for Kushner, Donald Trump, to board in their boat of conspiracy instead of Kushner to dominate his, and to facilitate for the two Arab countries to take over Ethiopia under colonialism, while Donald Trump's time in power as the President of the United States. Ethiopia. So agreed those illegal leaders to conspire over other countries' sovereignty. Action began by sending US Director Mark Green to Ethiopia. After he left, the very first week, the Ethiopian local conspiracy group being formed. Those, Donald Trump, Mohammed bin Zayed, or in short MBZ, Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS, and Kushner, and the international on the other side conspire. They couldn't do it that by themselves. They need another network, they need another support. because they cannot be everywhere. So after the Mark Green left, the local Ethiopian conspiracy mafia group has been formed. These two groups are the two coalition parties of EPRDF that was the ruling party of the country back then. The four coalition were the Tigray, the Oromo, the Amhara, the Southern Ethiopia. Therefore, those higher officials of the Amhara and the Oromo party, which comprise a group of people, among them are the current Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, came from the OPDO Oromo party, and the current Deputy Prime Minister Demek Mekonnen, who was presenting the Amhara party, ADP. Those two people's party betrayed their coalition party, EPRDF, and behind the scenes joined this international conspiracy group of the US and Middle East in early September 2017, right after Mark Green left. Underclassified while they are still with their coalition party, stayed that way with one goal in mind, as instructed to do a power shift. Therefore, Abiy Ahmed and his subordinate OPDO party members and Demek Mekonnen and his Amhara Democratic Party subordinate members. Those two betrayal parties joined together for their upcoming big-time historical betrayal mission, as they were purchased since then with money to work for the main and international conspiracy, bigger Lego, who behind the scenes are the one who hinders our peace, democracy, social justice, and our freedom, as they illegally interfered in our legal and local political affairs and have their hands for the change of power in Ethiopia in order to maneuver to wear our country right now, and for them to reap the total benefits in our misery and sufferings. Knowing the problem is half a solution. And as per the art of war, if you don't clearly identify, know your enemies and know yourself, you can lose the battle. And if you remain ignorant of who your real enemies are, and that's why the chaos, the damage, the disaster, and the defeats in most parts of our country, with the exception of the north part of the country in Tigray yet. A nation who is either ignorant or negligent to precisely define and point confidently by doing their own homework, the very first and fundamental rule of art of war, know your enemies and know yourself, will end up defeated at a very early stage of the conspiracy theory, bias, narratives. Every way you turn to, there you find parked there as a bait for you to be hooked and trapped, victimized, become powerless, and be conquered and defeated. So shake it off. Go back to ground zero to do your individual homeworks as a citizen in collective homeworks as a nation, in allies of global citizens, to stand in unity and solidarity to condemn the lawlessness, no rules, lawlessness, illegal and crimes that's operated by world leaders, that's causing abuse and taking away the right to live from those who are vulnerable and unable to defend or protect themselves. After you reach the finishing line of this information, I highly expect from the global citizen to go back to square one and tackle the problem the right way. If you fail to do that, not only you will fail to others, you will fail yourself, because this is not a problem in Ethiopia only. The exact pattern is implemented in the United States of America at present. After here and there, lots of things are eroded little by little. And you are now making the Americans exposed, invulnerable. Unless, with the speed of time, shift your focus from local political symptoms and focus on the root cause of the problem that started showing up since 2017. I can assure you, if you don't go back to your strengths, to put your strategy, blueprint of map, and execution plan of the virtual media psychological warfare, which later on can lead to military war, do your own homework carefully and effectively, otherwise you will lose this battle and you will be conquered. The way I see it, like my fellow Ethiopians, even Americans are not ready and get prepared for the danger that's subtly plotted to create a chaos in division, in hatred, just behind the scenes, who studied you well, knows how to defeat you, and that's through divide and conquer. They did well. The very first step, rule of art of war, unlike you, who are confused and puzzled by their narratives and dwell on it. That way you are giving your opponent the upper hand, because for the most part, you are fighting on your opponent's terms and conditions. That's where they needed you to be fixated, of course. That way you are becoming an easy prey for your predator. Hope with the information I unlock for my fellow citizens, Americans, and the entire global citizen, to connect the dots and see the correct picture of the puzzle, so that going forward, for all of us to contribute for the betterment of our planet and for those who live in it, as global citizens who have a common problem, because we have a common cause. Please keep that in mind. Don't forget also, we need one another to solve this problem before it escalates and spread with this contagious nature worse than the pandemic coronavirus. Think about it. As USA Mark Green 8 package of that time there was Ethiopia was going through a drought. So since USA Director Mark Green came to Ethiopia on August 13, 2017, with his aid package offer for the drought existed in Ethiopia by then. As we are able to put two and two together and connect the dots to get the correct picture of the puzzle, by carefully outthink to solve the problem, as we put the pieces of information in the right order, with a wider lens of sights, as we fly like eagle to have the bird view that flies with no barrier or border, any hindrance, to look into the situation without any hindrance, to look deep and in detail. To those who are blessed with the eye of an eagle that sees deep in detail and adopt the characteristics of an eagle, by incorporating the innate Sherlock Holmes in us, takes time. As we resolve to integrate our background to the IT background, to identify the root cause of the global chaos and start from the scratch, to define the problems that we can explain to any layman person to understand it in a more tangible way. That's why I'm giving you the facts that through the collection of data during the feasible stage of defining the problem in our country. Those data can help for what to expect for the situation in America right now, and be on top of it to diffuse before it's too late. Because I see it, the exact pattern sequential is implemented now. in USA, since causation and correlation intersects at a common point. We have a common cause and common correlation. We're in early week of September 2017, just a couple of days after Abiy Ahmed's political party and Demek Mekon's Amhara political party behind the back of their own umbrella ruling party EPRDF formed the local conspiracy group called Oromara. At the same time, the Oromo party seized the moment and hijacked the pre-existing young and energetic mob group called Kero, who were opposing the then government EPRDF for the lack of social justice and democracy on the behalf of the Oromo people. Those groups were strong and influencing the then ruling EPRDF administration with their countless protests and riots. Especially the Kero was well organized and mobilized by the political activists who were residing in USA as citizens with Jawar Mohammed, and together with their prominent shining star who motivated and empowered them in that journey of political struggle to stood tall and oppose the government for a change that the late renowned artist Hachalu Hundessa had played a big role, whose piece of music in Oromiya language as a singer was like their national, their songs they use it as a national anthem of unity and solidarity that breathes fresh enthusiasm, that helps them to resolve until what they were fighting for is attainable to achieve, for sure to achieve in a tangible way, that they can feel, touch the change in their daily life. But it didn't happen. That went in vain. There was another energetic youth mob group called Fano, who were opposing the government for better governance and democracy on the behalf of the Amhara people. Well, Abiy Ahmed, after he betrayed the Oromo the Oromo party in the Amhara, after they first betrayed their own coalition ruling party PRDF, was in their honeymoon because they have their own coalition, informal coalition, intermarriage for conspiracy that leads to all human rights abuse in our country and the historical spilled up lately.